I'll be the one to say it. I'll give it to you straight. Some of you on your spiritual journey need to disconnect from the internet. Some of you need to just disconnect from social media. It's going to look different from each of you. But what I see is folks that are on this spiritual journey where it's time for you to disconnect. You can only get so much from the third parties. You can only get so much of a mentorship until you're cut loose, until you need to do it on your own. And so therefore, cutting it all out, going within, it comes to a point where it's a necessity, because that is the point where you build your own relationship with the Most High, with Mother Gaia, with your angels, with the ancestors, whatever you're comfortable with on your walk. It's a very intimate relationship that needs to be built, and an intimate relationship cannot be built with third parties involved. Yes, it's great to have people you can turn to, or people that are a mentor to you, but it also comes a point where you got to cut the reins. You got to cut the cord, and you got to go into the dark, in the depths of unknown, because that is where you meet the Most High. That is where you are so vulnerable. You do nothing but lean completely in to the Most High. The factors around you are just factors to help you, but it's internally, and that's a point that you need to get to, where you go inward, not outward. In today's world, when it comes to social media and the internet, it's a new ball game, and you have to learn how to train to play that game. And so each walk is going to look different. Some of you need to learn how to balance it. Some of you need to just disconnect completely, so you can find your higher self, so you can find your own energy. Some of you just need to practice a little bit better on the balance, how much you're consuming, and so forth. But there's going to be a time in the near future where you're going to see spiritual content creators go into an isolation period, while other creators of that same community are going to come forward. The ones that are coming forward are going to be the ones that are coming out of isolation, that are coming out of hermit mode. Because hermit mode is a very critical part of the journey. And it's a revolving door. You can be so advanced on your spiritual journey and still be called into isolation, into hermit mode. To recalibrate, to rebalance, to find your energy again, because you may have gotten off track, or just for you to simply see something in a different way. But the only way you're capable of seeing that in a different way is taking yourself out of the picture. It's like steps going up on a wide scale, including all of us. You may have been that one step, but the next step you may not be a part of for the higher purpose of the spiritual community, to sum it up. But then you might be a couple steps ahead, where you bounce back from your hermit mode, from your isolation, And everything you just went through and experienced, learned from, the wisdom you gained, the knowledge, the information, you're able to teach that now because you had to go back into student mode. The teacher is always a student. And that will also be a reminder to some that are the teacher right now to say, whoa, you're forgetting that you're still a student. You don't know everything. Whoa. Hold on a second. Go back to the classroom for a minute. I got something I need to show you on the chalkboard. It looks different for each and every one of you. But as the awakenings have continued, and you don't want to watch TV, and you don't want to do this, and it's just going out in public is just so overwhelming, and all the things, maybe those are just signs for you to go into isolation, into hermit mode, to cut out everybody, and go so far down in the rabbit hole of finding yourself that you no longer hear any distractions. You actually have a vision now. You actually see clear. But if you have such a haze over your vision, maybe it's because of social media. Maybe it's because you're looking outside of yourself and you're at a point where you need to go now within, because all the information that was gained from outside of yourself, how are you going to utilize it? How are you going to use it for your greater good and your higher self? Are you going to continue to go outside of yourself? Or are you going to put the knowledge that you have gained to work? It's the main part of a spiritual journey. When you are so alone, you have nobody else to lean on besides the spiritual, besides the spirit realm. Because that's what needs to happen. Because once that happens, then you realize things that you could have never realized if you were continuing to lean into the physical realm. See all those distractions just now? How many distractions are in your life that are distracting you from your own personal relationship when it comes to the Creator, the Most High? The point of the isolation is to go back out of isolation and no longer have distractions that affect you the way they once did. That's how you're able to grow. That's how you're able to mature. That's how you're able to process everything. It's hard to process whatever it is that life has thrown at you while you constantly have birds chirping in your ears telling you this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, you don't even have the Most High's voice in your mind, in your head. You have everybody else's voice. Do you even know the Most High's voice? Okay, well, that's why you need to go into isolation. That's why you need to go into hermit mode. So you can find his voice. You can take the gender out of it. I'm not even going to get into that. But you get where I'm going. Not only is it beneficial to you, it's beneficial to the community that is connected to each other when you don't even know how connected we are. And so when you do the work, it helps the spirit realm, and it helps the ones that are connected to you that you don't even know that are connected to you. It's a boomerang. It's a domino effect. It counterpoles each other. And if you were to think about how many people, if they were to do this, what type of domino effect would happen in the spirit realm? How many alarms would be going off? Like, hey, what's up? Okay, I'm here. Let's do this. Let's figure this out. How are we going to do this? Explain this to me. Because you'll get the answers. But it's just a matter of if you have gone to the depths of knowing how to receive those answers. But it's all up to you. But social media and the internet will distract you if you do not know how to utilize those tools for your greater good. You'll be able to see straight through the deception. But how are you going to see through the deception if you've never gone into isolation, or if you're constantly consuming the same social media that you haven't detached from? You're still being deceived. There's only so many awakenings that can happen, but after these awakenings, there comes a point where, as beneficial and as great and as awesome as the awakenings are, your isolation period, your hermit mode, is just as equivalent. It's literally the same, because it's such a magnitude in which you don't understand what is happening in the spiritual realm, because you will not see in the physical. The work you put in the spiritual does not always physically show right in front of you, so it's hard, but that's what builds the faith. Mark my words. You are going to see a change when it comes to the spiritual community, content creator, whatever word they use nowadays to categorize what I'm trying to say. You're going to see a switch. You are going to see folks pulled in different directions because their calling is changing. You are going to see them called into isolation because of what the next step is that they need to prepare for. Some folks in the spiritual community were just a big step to the spiritual awakening, and that's it. That's why you have to understand what your own spiritual path looks like. And when you get hazed and confused and it's cloudy and you don't understand, maybe it's the distractions. Maybe you haven't gone to the depths of within in which you're selling yourself short from. It's hard. It's ugly. It's brutal. It's going through all the emotions in which you didn't know necessarily that were there, that were down, piled down, that come up to the surface. It's a whole going through the emotions of it all, but it's well worth it. That's why people don't do it, because they sell themselves short. People want to say many are called, few are chosen. This is one of the aspects that come into many are called but few are chosen, because how deep are you going to go? How much faith are you going to have? Are you going to do what mommy and daddy say? Or are you going to do what feels right within you because you know that's what the Father asks of you? Or are you worried about what your neighbor got to say about this, that, and the third? Or are you worried about looking different because you're not like everybody else? The Father, the Most High, is looking for authentic, however which way that looks. Your true authentic self, however which way that looks. But are you being your true authentic self? Do you know who that is? Or do you need to cut off distractions like social media and the internet to dive down a little deeper for your greater good? If you feel a certain way after this message, this may have been just for you. I'm just going with it. But it's the most beautiful journey. It's a double-edged sword, but it's the most beautiful journey when you go so far deep within yourself and you meet the Most High and you build the most special, intimate relationship that you cannot you just physically cannot describe. If I had any words to describe it, I couldn't. That's why I like to say intimate, because it's very intimate. For somebody in the physical body to understand, it's like having the best sex of your life with the person you love most, and it's the most magical experience of your life. It's equivalent to that. Just so you can physically try to understand what I'm even saying, because this is on a deep spiritual level to where in the physicality I cannot truly explain it. That's why isolation is key. And that might be what's holding you back from the next step to your higher self. Peace and love.